Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CEW Network Podcast. We're back with episode 2, and we actually have a bit of a format for once. This isn't going to be the full-blown format. There's one segment that will be staying, but this is going to be the format for today's episode. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. We are not going to waste too much time. We're going to try and get right to the point with this. So, I thought I would just let you guys know before, we start the full podcast and all that stuff, how life's going. Give you all a little small life / content update. And honestly, things are going well. College / university, because it's university stuff that I'm doing at college. It's going well. It's going really well. I think I'm on top of things, and I feel like I'm up to speed with what I need to be doing, which is fantastic. Content is doing well. I don't know when this is coming out. This might be before or after the Trick or Street fight. I'm recording this on the 28th. The Trick or Street fight comes out, obviously, on Halloween. So, it's probably going to be that this is released after the Trick or Street fight. So, hopefully you all enjoyed that one. And then we have Explosion Episode 2 probably coming the weekend, this weekend. So, it's the 28th for me now. So, let me just double check. It will hopefully be out on the 5th of October. November, not October. And then hopefully episode 3 of Mayhem and Explosion will be out whenever they're done. They're getting there. Just gotta do a few more things, and then hopefully that should be good to go. That's it. So let's move on with the first segment of the podcast. So everyone, welcome to Core Talk, where for all of you who are subscribed for core related things, this will be right up your street. Every single podcast, I will be revealing something about my journey in core, be it something that is missing from the CEW history books, which, believe me, there is a lot to cover with that one, whether it's a core that was featured and then just disappeared, whether it's, whether or not I want to talk about, maybe my course progressions that you have seen. And then, we'll just kind of talk about that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll talk about old shows. I mean, there's like a 6-hour King of the Ring show that, only people who were subscribed back on the Byronite channel know that exists. So, there's quite a lot to talk about. But today, we're talking about Jackson Wyatt. Now, for those of you that don't know who Jackson Wyatt is, he was a core that debuted in 2019. Let me get the factoids up for you real quick. I should have really put this into my notes. I didn't prepare good enough notes. That's a good thing to remember for next episode. Bring better notes. So yeah, he debuted in Season 3, as it's known. And I believe he debuted after Extremity. I believe it was episode 5. Yeah, it was. It was episode 5. He was the kind of friend / tag partner of Max McCarthy at that time. Very weird. Don't ask me why he was doing all of that. I just thought that would be cool if Max McCarthy had a guy like Jackson Wyatt. So what did he do? He fought Psychosis for the Extreme Championship once. That's about it, really. He was gonna do big things, which we will get onto in a second. But, unfortunately, he did not get to that. His last appearance was actually at Beefomania. He chokeslammed Beefador, and that was his last ever chokeslam. He did nothing afterwards. Which, is a little bit sad, but, you'll understand when I actually explain, whether or not he'll reappear, and, if he will, and what I would change about him. So the lost plans were, he was originally going to be in a feud with Beefador. And honestly, it would have been the catalyst that would have turned Beefador into Bruno Burgos. The plan was for Jackson Wyatt to beat Beefador in some sort of backwood brawl kind of type deal. I don't know what you would really call it. but it'd be like using the 2K20 arenas thanks to like the Bump in the Night DLC, etc. He would beat Beefador, probably drag him into the woods, and then we would see him maybe like 3 or 4 months later slim down as Bruno Burgos. Probably not in the form that we know him now. It probably would have been a little bit more deranged, a little bit more out there type deal for Bruno Burgos. But it would have probably propelled Jackson Wyatt to maybe gun for the Hardcore Championship a couple times. Probably could have been a really good contender for... probably would have been Jared Dexter at the time. Yeah, it would have been Jared Dexter at the time. To fight for the title. But it just never happened. And will he reappear? Definitely not under the name Jackson Wyatt. Definitely not with a Fiend mask again. And if he does come back at any point, I will be sure to let you know, because he's definitely not coming back as Jackson Wyatt. That's for certain. So, that was Core Talk. If there are any cores or like anything from CEW Past that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments, because I'm down to basically talk about anything relating to CEW's past, because there's a lot to uncover that went on the old channel. Maybe I'll even talk about why I decided to well, for the new people, I'll talk about at some point why I decided to move over to this channel instead of just continuing on the Byronite channel, but we'll get there eventually. But yeah, that was Core Talk. Let me know if you have any suggestions for who to talk about, or what to talk about next. And we are going to move on to a section that's going to get very, very spicy. So we're going to continue the theme of Core Talk and all of that good stuff. And I think it's worth just kind of getting this conversation, getting this topic out of the way in episode 2 instead of waiting for so long, because I feel like this is something that I have mixed opinions on, and quite frankly I feel like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like I've got some insight into this that I feel like could be worth it for some people if they're willing to listen. And that is the core show format. Now, we all know this. People who watch CEW know the core show format. It's just a wrestling show with cores, and you stage your videos like they are a professional wrestling show. Which, you know what, for us fans of wrestling, that is the perfect way to present it. I will keep it real with you. I understand that is how, you know, we're accustomed to getting our wrestling content is through shows and all of that good stuff. But I'm gonna propose something to people here. I'm gonna discuss it in a way where I feel like a lot of people tend to ignore this, but then also still want it at the same time. And that is that if you want to grow, if you want to gain some sort of following with your core show on YouTube specifically, Twitch is a little bit different, and I feel like the core show format, I think, does quite well on Twitch from what I've seen. I don't know personally, I've never done a core show on Twitch. But if you have, or if you know people that do let me know in the comments below, and let me know how they kind of see it, how they feel like the core show stuff is doing on Twitch, because I feel like that's a very, very interesting conversation to have, as the difference between YouTube and Twitch with this stuff. But as I was saying, if you want to grow doing a core show on YouTube, I'll keep it real, and you know, I've kind of shot myself in the foot by doing this for so long. I don't believe the core show format stands. It has no legs to stand on. Let me keep it real with you. I do the core show format because I find it enjoyable. I think it's fun to edit an entire show and treat it like it is a professional wrestling show, and it's like a weekly thing or like a pay-per-view, etc. And I think that is a very, very important, you know, thing to realize, is that if you enjoy making like the hour and a half long videos, that is perfectly fine. If you don't really care about getting, like, views and all of that stuff on YouTube, then, you know what, that is fine. Do what makes you happy. Follow your passion at the end of the day, because that's what I've done for 2 years. And honestly, the growth that I've had on the channel is pretty insane for how I actually do content. But I was talking to some friends, and And, I'll keep it real, a lot of my friends do not like, or, well, I say, they don't watch wrestling. They get it. I've got some IRL friends who are down to help me work on CEW stuff at some point. They've thrown their hat in the ring for some things, and I will be taking them up on that offer because that is a really, really cool thing. But they don't really watch wrestling, and it made me realize something, and I was like, if I can get them interested in the idea of CEW, and they don't watch wrestling, well then, how can I do that for other people who maybe just like video games and like a good story? How can I make them forget that it's professional wrestling? How can I make them forget that it is just a wrestling show? And I thought about it, and it was recent. I'm recording this probably the week of when this is going to get uploaded. So I've recorded this in chunks because I changed the format a little bit midway through the podcast. And I thought about it after I released a Trick or Street fight. I was really expecting that to tank. I was expecting that not to do really well. But if I look at it right now, I'm getting my phone out real quick, and I'm looking. And I don't really do this a lot, but I just want to tell people how this has gone. It is a 1 of 10 performance. It is, out of the last 10 videos before it, it is the best performing video by a long shot as well. And you could chalk that up to a lot of factors. I released it on Halloween. It's Trick or Street fight. It is what it is. But then when you look at stuff like my MUW highlights, the EPW highlights, the EPW Rumble, it's those smaller videos that do better. Now, obviously, we could talk about the Academy for ages. We could talk about how that wasn't exactly that good. I think it's because I didn't promote it enough, and I don't think I put in as much time and effort as I feel like a lot of the Academy deserved. If I ever do bring the Academy back, believe me, I'm going to go a little bit more experimental with it. I want to go crazy, but I'm just going to tell you this now, I don't think the Academy's coming back. Definitely not whilst the wrestling code's not a thing. Because, good lord, making calls on 2K22 is an absolute nightmare. And I'll probably get into that next podcast, because I have a lot to say about that one. But anyway, back onto the core show format. I think if you enjoy it, if you enjoy doing the core show format and the way that everyone's done it for years upon years upon years of these longer shows that, you can sit down with the people in your community, in your audience, and you can have a good sort of an hour and a half of just watching with, then that's perfectly fine. But I think if you want to try and actually play the YouTube game, I think it's worth looking into dropping videos like one match a video kind of thing. Dropping things individually, because what that's going to do is over time it's going to show you who can generate a buzz and who can't. A lot easier than in a core show, format. So I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit of food for thought, just think about that. If you want to gain the numbers on YouTube, I don't know if the core show format stands, but if you're just doing this for passion, if you're doing this because you enjoy it, do whatever makes you happy. Do not let me sit here and tell you how to run your show. I'm just saying that if you're one of those people that's like, damn, I don't gain enough views from this, I think you've got to look into it a lot more, and you've got to think about what is it going to be that's going to get people who either don't know about core, don't really watch a lot of 2K stuff, aren't wrestling fans. How are you going to get those 3 different factors, and how are you going to make those people watch you? That's the big thing. So that's this segment, and now we're going to move on to the final segment of the podcast. And it is time to talk about CEW's Wrestler of the Month. Now, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do this because of just how slow the schedule's going to be for CEW soon. That's a little heads up. I feel like November and December are going to be drought months for CEW. I don't really see there being a lot of content uploaded. I can probably see 2, maybe 3 episodes of Mayhem and Explosion being released. But I think even 2 might be pushing it, honestly. Just with a lot of factors, and I've got a lot of, like, university work that I've got to be working on as well. So that's just a little food for thought there. But anyway, let's talk about Wrestler of the Month. Now, you can probably see he's a bit blurred out, but that's just how the podcast screen aesthetic is for this show. And the Wrestler of the Month is Stanley Owens for October. If you haven't already, go back and watch him versus Ben Jenkins, Mayhem 2. Genuinely, I think that's probably going to be match of the year this year. And end of year awards are coming, by the way. I'll be dropping the short list probably in the next couple weeks, actually. So keep an eye out for that, because it's going to be quite interesting. But as I was saying, Stanley Owens, Wrestler of the Month. I don't think anyone can really dispute that. I think Mayu got close, but obviously her match didn't actually have an ending. Ben Jenkins obviously put on a really good showing, but if we're thinking about winners, it's Stanley Owens. Brilliant guy. We're going to be hearing from him on episode 3 of Mayhem, by the way, with a big announcement in regards to how we're going to figure out the number 1 contender for the World Championship. So, if you're listening to this and you're wondering what's going on with episode 3, I might quickly do a match card rundown for you at the end of the podcast so that you know what's happening, and that way then you can look forward to episode 3 of Mayhem whenever that drops. So that was Wrestler of the Month. I don't think I can really say much else about Stanley Owens other than just he had a banging match with Ben Jenkins. Go ahead and watch it. It was incredible. I had so much fun working on it. And just to hear everyone's reactions during the match, insane. So yeah, that's it for this segment. And if I do the match card rundown, you will see that.